All right, so let's go ahead and get our party started. We're going to create a new folder, week06 arrays. I call them lists because one of the first languages I learned called them lists, but they're really called arrays. And let's go ahead and open that. Now let's go ahead and create an index.html file. Let me get my sample HTML file to pop in here. I should, of course, say that's not the best HTML file, but it is what we need. All right, so let's go ahead and look at this. Let's create our JavaScript up here. And of course, for today, what we're going to do is we're going to play with some consoles. That is a lot of bass that is outside of my window right now. We'll play with our JavaScript consoles and see some effects of this. And what I hope to do during this lesson is kind of just keep building and showing how that we can, as interface designers, start to use our arrays and store different things. So with arrays, what I want to do is I want to do my script, right? We love that tag. And so let's go ahead and initialize our array. Now you may have seen in the video they use const constant for the array. And what I wanted to do was I wanted to show you or I wanted to talk to you about that because we haven't seen those letters necessarily, and they are to prevent it from being turned into another type of variable. So by calling it by saying like const constant my array equals, and then what's it going to equal, we can do it this way, and that's going to be fine. All right, now we can, this is a blank array. More than likely, you might want to start with some type of examples. And so I might do Mount Washington. Notice it's a string, and I put a comma. I might have Federal Hill. I might do Westport. I can do Pigtown. I can do Highlandtown. And finally, I can do, where am I here? Mount Vernon. So these are all neighborhoods in Baltimore. All right. So I've saved it. If I go to console.log, what do I want to output? I want to output my array. Then you have to put bracket, and then which number index do we want to do? Okay, so this is one of the crazy parts about the whole thing. Arrays are what are called zero indexed. That means that the first element in the array has the value of 0. The second element in the array has the value of 1. The third, 2, fourth, 3, fifth, etc. So we always have 0 as the first one. So I'm going to just show you that with a 0 here. Let's save it. Let's go ahead and open it in our browser. Open, which is not up on the screen yet. Okay. So let's take this to here, right? Yep, looks good. All right, and then we'll open up our developer tab. And as you can see, maybe you can't see. Okay. As you can see, the output outputted Mount Washington. Now, of course, why that error, you probably have seen this in your work, and that is because it's trying to access something called favicon, which, don't worry about that. So Mount Washington is our value there. If I wanted to do number 3, what do you think that is? So count 0, 1, 2, 3. It's Pigtown, or at least it should be Pigtown. So I save it, open my HTML, and it's Pigtown. Okay. So again, it's a weird, the 0 indexing is a little difficult to grasp sometimes, but it's really good. Or I should say, you'll get it. Okay, and then the final thing that I can do is I can change values just by setting them. So my array bracket 3 equals Inner Harbor. Save that, and now let's console.log it again. Refresh it, and you'll see first it's Pigtown, then it gets changed to Inner Harbor, and then it outputs Inner Harbor. So this is the most basic use of arrays. We can do lots of other things with our arrays. We can sort them, for example. And when we sort them, what happens is the order gets redone. The array gets reshuffled. What was 1, 0 becomes something else. So let's give that a shot and take a look. The other thing you can do with an array is you can just output it as a variable like this into a log, but things sometimes get a little weird. I'll show you how it actually comes across. So in this case, in this browser, it actually did a nice job. Sometimes you have to click a little thing to open it up, like in the last video we watched, but we can go ahead and see it there. And then I'm going to do the same thing again, just to show you the whole thing and how we change it. Make sure it's coming across. My video is... Yeah. So now it's Inner Harbor. Where's my video? Whoop. So it was Pigtown. Now it's Inner Harbor. Okay. All right. So that's that. Now let's go ahead and give it a shot and see how we can sort it. It's actually really easy. It's my, whatever you name your array, dot sort. And then because it's actually a function, it's a built-in function. We talked about those before. We call those methods because it is built in. There's not a parameter here. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to save. And you'll see now, sorry, just have to move my photo again. If you don't know, I have my screen here, and those are my cameras. Over here, as I have an information screen, and then the video that I'm making. Okay. It was Mount Washington, Federal Hill, Westport, Pigtown, Highlandtown, Mount Vernon. Now it is Federal Hill, Highlandtown, Mount Vernon, Mount Washington, Pigtown, Westport. It is now alphabetical, which is great. We can do that. And so now if we were to say console.log my array 0, you will have the highest, or like the earliest in the alphabet. In this case, Federal Hill. So that's sort. We can also reverse, in case you want to do that, and that is literally just doing the array and putting it in the reverse order that it was, not alphabetical in this case. If you want to make it reverse alphabetical, you would do myArray dot sort parentheses parentheses dot reverse. Save that, test it, rewind. And now we see Westport, Pigtown, Mount Washington, Mount Vernon, Highlandtown, Federal Hill, right? So we see them now in the reverse alphabetical order. I have learned recently that, actually, before I talk about that, anything can be in an array, okay? You can have, these are strings, I can have numbers. let me get rid of this for us just for one quick minute. And I can do something like 8, 6, 7, 5, 3, 0, 9, right? Like, so this is my array. Let me go look at it here, right? And I didn't do anything. I didn't change it, just have it listed twice. Okay, and then same thing, first one in this case is still 0, so that's 8. I learned recently that sort doesn't work on numbers. Let's go ahead and test and see what that does. I heard it doesn't. 0, 3, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That looks like it works to me. I'll do some more research on that. We'll find out. But like I said, the computer science people say that sort doesn't work accurately with numbers. So don't necessarily rely on that for just numbers. Strings, it works great. I can also add things to the beginning of the array. So I might type something like my array dot push a value. And so in this case, I might push Jenny. And now let's take a look at what our array looks like. So it's 0356789 Jenny. That is not a hit song. That's not going to work. What should I should undo sort. Refresh. Okay, so 8675309 Jenny. All right. So when I push something to the array, it goes to the end of the array. It's like putting it to the end of the list. The other thing I can do is I can pop something. So I can go to my array dot pop, and I'm not going to actually put anything in there. I'm going to hit save. I'm going to refresh it. Of course, I didn't output anything, so that's kind of dumb of me. Let me do this. Move this over here so you can see a little better. Refresh it. And when I pop something, it comes off the end. So when I push something on, it goes to the end. And when I pop something, it comes off of the array. So that means that if I do this, like I said, I can pop something off. What if I want to get something from the front of the line? That is the command shift. So instead of pop, we use shift, we save it, refresh it. And you can see now that I went from 8675309 Jenny to now 675309 Jenny. You know, there's a lot of ways that we can use these. I know right now it seems very abstract, like why would I need these lists? But there's a lot of times as interface designers that we're constantly dealing with information, and we're constantly dealing with values from not just variables, but from things the user has done. Like they've pressed a button, they have entered information into a field, they've done all of these different kind of things, and we need to manipulate that particular those particular values. The other thing I wanted to say is that we don't just usually want to shift something away. Instead, we probably want to use it for something. So in this case, I would say let my variable equal my array dot shift, and then right here I'm actually going to output my variable, right? Hit save. I'm going to go here, refresh, And the value that I shifted, that I took from the front, I set to, basically what I said here was, let my variable equal shift, meaning take the value out of the array, set it to my variable. Everything in the array gets moved down. You know, what was once 1 is now 0. Then I'm going to, I can now use that variable in some way. In this case, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to just output it to the log. So that is essentially, that is the most basic overview of arrays. But let's actually talk about how we can use arrays as interface designers and start to see it in context of it being used in other ways. So let's go ahead and go to the next video.